Hello and a warm welcome back to our YouTube channel. My name is Maria and I am the owner and founder of the New Mummy Company here in Oakville, Ontario. Today we have a special guest. We are joined by Nazia White, who is our master yoga teacher, and we are delighted to welcome her back to us today because we want to talk about what it means to incorporate some yoga stretching into your pregnancy. So what we want to do today is we want to show you a couple of different poses that will help alleviate some of the stress and the tension that you experience as you progress through your pregnancy. So we're going to be chatting to Nazia, so I hope that you are going to be able to sit back and relax and observe, and then that you'll be able to partake and follow her instructions on the poses that she's going to demonstrate for us today. Now these poses apply to all stages of pregnancy and will be useful for you no matter what trimester that you're in. But obviously, as the bump starts to grow, that's when we generally feel most of the tension and the stress. So this is when you'll find them most appropriate. But we are incorporating stretches from the first trimester. Thank you so much for joining us today, Nazia. We're very excited to have you back with us again.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, Maria.
Wonderful. So today we wanted to talk a little bit more about prenatal stress and prenatal aches and pains on your body, in particular in the sort of hip region. So when you start to have your tummy get a little bit bigger, you're going to feel a little bit more of the stress and the aches and the pains because your body is having to deal with that extra weight. Now, what prompted this video was this week I was upstairs talking to Dr. Sharma, who is the head of OB, and he mentioned how he sees that a lot of women in pregnancy are a little bit more stationary in the winter. And so, of course, that's going to lead to a little bit more weight gain, and it's also going to lead to not having the opportunity to release those stress and put some stretches in, but also having you feel a little bit more tight, a little bit more uncomfortable. So we want to be able to help you as much as we possibly can. So that's why we've asked Nazia to join us today. So Nazia, tell us from a yoga perspective, what is going on and why do people start to hurt and when do they start to hurt?
Yeah, so basically, as once you get pregnant, the body is starting to change and shift. In particularly the pelvic region, the pelvic floor, we have our ligaments that are stretching, preparing us for labor. We have hormones that are changing in our body, and simply just creating space. Our organs are moving around so to create space for this beautiful bundle of joy that we're going to be receiving or bringing into the world. So this area, the pelvic region area, is going through many changes. So from a yoga perspective, making sure that we stay on the flexibility, making sure that we continue to do some stretches throughout the day, maybe join a yoga class or a prenatal yoga class. Really important to continue to love the pelvic region, because that's the area for the next 9 months that you're going to want to make sure you love fully and just care for.
Wonderful. Excellent. So today we wanted to have you demonstrate a couple of quick stretches that people can do at home that are very safe, but they're also going to be quite effective. Yes. So today you can see that I'm here in the yoga studio and Nazia is actually in our main training room. So because of COVID, we are in the same building, but we are not in the same room. So I'm going to be here watching Nazia do these, and I hope that you will be able to follow along and then you can practice these stretches and hopefully they will benefit you too. And of course, if you would like to join us for a prenatal class in terms of yoga, we would love to have you join us because right now all of our classes are online. So you can join us with Nazia every Tuesday. So it's a great opportunity for you to get a little bit more stretching in and release some of that stress and tension in your body. So what's the first pose that you're going to show us, Nazia?
Awesome. So the first pose I'm going to show you is just an easy sitting down pose. So again, if you've been at the office, I'm going to show you one on the chair and then we'll take the rest down to the floor. So it's
Okay.
called a half pigeon, or we also call it a number 4. Very simple. You can do it maybe 3 times a day whenever you need to take a little breather. We're going to get to the chair. So I'm going to just pull the chair closer to me here. So sitting onto a chair, nice and tall, making sure both feet are flat onto the floor. Roll the shoulders back and just focusing on your breathing first to start. And a really important thing is breathe and bring that intention into the pelvic girdle. So actually focus on inhaling relaxation into the pelvic girdle and then releasing any tension that's left there. The first pose that we're going to do, this is an assisted pigeon. So just taking your right ankle on top of your left thigh and just holding it there. So maybe in the beginning, if you can't get there, if the knee's up there, that's totally fine. The more you do this, maybe 3 times a day or try to get it done 3 times a week, the better it'll feel. You want to make sure that you're not pushing on the knee joint, but just a nice gentle press so you can feel that hip flexor stretch all through the back of your glute, all through the pelvic region. You would hold your stretches for about 5 to 10 seconds and then switch over to the other sides. And again, the same thing. Now you're going to notice as you move through pregnancy, one side might be feeling a little different than the other, depending on where you sleep, depending on the side that you sleep on, depending on, what's your strong body, depending on your job. If you're standing most of the time, you're putting a lot of weight on one side, it's going to feel very different. So really try to even it out. 5 to 10 seconds again on this side, and then you can repeat for 3 cycles. And that's one really easy pose. So this is your assisted pigeon on the chair. How do you like that, Maria?
I think that's amazing. And this is something that you could do whether you're working from home or working in the office, because quite frankly, people are not going to really notice that you're actually doing it.
Exactly. Yeah, you could be on the computer and in a meeting, in a Zoom meeting, and no one will know under your desk that you're getting this done. And definitely an amazing pose for just everyone in general, but very specific for our mamas to be.
And when would this be most beneficial or most useful? So is there a certain trimester, or is there a certain trimester that you maybe shouldn't do this pose? Is there any sort of precautions that we should be aware of?
Yeah, with this pose, it is fine to do it all throughout pregnancy. So there are certain poses that I'll go through that you want to just do at certain times. But this one is great, and that's why this is my all-time favorite to do throughout the entire pregnancy. But talking about first trimester, I'm gonna give you one that we're gonna be doing on the floor that I would recommend specifically just for the first trimester, and then after that, you want to come back to this pose instead. So this is half pigeon on the chair, and I'm going to show you half pigeon on the floor, which is a little bit more effective. I know it's still the same pose, but it's highly effective for the first trimester because that's when the ligaments really start to feel that stretching, and it helps to create kind of like a blanket for the pelvic girdle. So let's take you to the next pose, which is half pigeon as well, but on the floor. Now, I would recommend doing this after you've warmed up, maybe doing a couple squats, maybe you've had a warm shower, or maybe you've put a nice warm heating pad on the pelvic area. So I wouldn't recommend doing this right away. Make sure you warm up a little bit, okay? So we're gonna go down towards the floor, coming into a tabletop position. You can make your way by giving a nice big body stretch. Inhale, and then exhale, come all the way down to the floor. Walk your hands forward so that you're into a tabletop position. Starting here in a tabletop position, you're going to slide your right knee to meet your right wrist and extend the left leg all the way back. Okay. So relaxing the left leg. I'm going to show you the front view right here. So you want to either have your toes pointed towards your groin or the bottom half of your leg parallel to your mat, whatever feels good for you. Sitting up nice and tall, roll the shoulders back. This is your first option. And I'll show you this side view as well. Same thing. Good. Holding it here. You want to focus on really sitting up tall, rolling the shoulders back. So again, this is kind of like the same pose on the chair, but for the first trimester specifically. And it helps also to rebalance our hormones. It has an amazing effect on our nervous system. Sometimes we feel a little bit anxiety in our first trimester. Are we feeling this? Should we be feeling this? And So it's great. Another option is to start to walk your hands forward, cradle your head in the palms of your hands. And maybe if the baby bump will allow you, you can also reach your forehead to the floor or put one fist on top of the floor. So this is your half pigeon. Probably one of my most important all-time yoga poses, pre and postnatal, for again, first trimester.
Fantastic. So what sort of benefit should you feel after this pose? Is it that you should feel less tension in your hips? Should you feel more relaxed? Sort of what should you be hoping to achieve?
Yeah, so here is really a release of that tension. So normally there's a tightness that you feel all through the pelvic girdle, all through the muscles there, all the ligaments. So as soon as you come out of this pose, you'll automatically feel this release. So coming into this pose sometimes feels a little uncomfortable, and you want it to be not to a point where you're in extreme pain or it's painful, but it feels a little different. It feels like a massage. You know, when you're getting a massage, you feel a little bit of tension, and then after it's a release. So I actually like to use this. I call this the massage for my pelvis area, pelvic girdle, because it's a beautiful release. You can actually feel that.
And I'm sure there are so many people who are now saying, hallelujah, thank you so much.
Thank you. I have one more pose that I want to give you my top three, and it's really hard. It's hard for me to choose three, but I'll give you one more. And this is very easy. Again, this is great for all through pregnancy. Kind of the same idea, but you're going to be onto your knees. Again, you can double up your mat for support, or maybe place a pillow under your knees. And you're going to extend your right leg out in front of you. So making sure your right knee is stacked right over on top of your right ankle. Holding it here, stack your shoulders over your hips, and just focus on that breath again, like I said, right? Inhale and exhale, lengthen your spine. Then your second option is to walk your foot forward a little bit. And notice that the knee now is not over the ankle. So I want you to bring that knee over the ankle. Right away, when you bring that knee over the ankle, you feel the stretch in the supportive leg. So again, it's opening out from the quads all the way to your torso. So that's really now moving over, not only focusing on the pelvic girdle, but all the other muscles that are surrounded there, the supportive muscles there, the supportive ligaments there. So very important. You can either keep your hands onto your hips, hands onto the tops of your thighs. Maybe if you want to add a little bit of a challenge, you can take your arms up to the sky. And this is our assisted crescent lunge on our knees. Again, 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, and then switch. You can repeat for 3 or 4 cycles, whatever feels good for you.
Wonderful. And again, after doing this pose, what should we expect to feel?
So this one is really with half pigeon, it was a deep release. With this one, it's more of a nice stretch that you feel throughout the entire, you pretty much are feeling it from probably the top of your torso right to the top of your knee. So it's a nice deep stretch that you're going to be feeling there.
Wonderful. And is there any precautions with any of these poses that we should be aware of, Nazia?
With any of these, really focusing on making sure that your knees don't go past your toes. So that's for any of those exercises that we're doing. And really being mindful and listening to your body. So, you know, pre-pregnancy, if you have been doing poses or if you've been an exerciser, and then all of a sudden, you know, you start to try these and it feels different, just really actually taking it back and listening to your body, because you know your body best. You know, we can tell you what to do, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't feel right, stop it 100% and do what feels good for you, because it's a totally different environment right there, right? So
absolutely.
Your body.
Wonderful. Well, I really, really, really thank you, Nazia, for sharing that, those hints and tips with us today. I'm sure they will be much appreciated, and I'm sure we will have you back with us again before too long. And for any of you who do want to join Nazia in a yoga class, we would love to have you. Nazia is currently doing prenatal yoga, postnatal yoga, and mom and baby yoga with us. So we would love to have you come along and join us for any of those sessions or those classes at your convenience. They are running on Tuesday evenings and Wednesday mornings. So stay tuned for our next video, which will be here with you next Thursday. And in the meantime, it's goodbye from Nazia and I, and we hope to see you very soon.
Thanks for having me. Bye. See you soon.
Bye.